Doom Eternal is new, it's fresh, and we're loving the hell out of it. But guess what? It seems like they couldn't help but reference a bunch of other content. It's super fun. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the 10 best Easter eggs and references in Doom Eternal. At number 10 is Daisy the Rabbit. If you've ever beaten the original Doom, you probably remember the ending. It is memorable, if there's any word to describe it. It shows a happy little field with a bunny, and then it shifts to a scene of a hell-infested city in the background with a decapitated rabbit's head on a stick in the foreground. It is exactly the sort of ending you'd expect from a bunch of edgy early 90s nerds. That bunny, named Daisy, in the ending to episode 4, was apparently the Doom Guy's pet rabbit. So I guess that its death is the reason Doom Guy fought hell in thy flesh consumed, or something? It doesn't really matter. All that really matters is that Daisy is back in this Doom. There's actually a few Easter eggs related to this rabbit hidden around, which is convenient because Easter eggs, rabbit, haha. The ones that are easiest to find are in the Fortress of Doom. You find the Doomslayer's room, you can see a portrait of the main man himself holding Daisy gently in his hands. Look around the room a little more and you'll find a rabbit cage near the desk that is sadly empty. But that is not all. Daisy can also be found around the environment. Like here in level 2, if you zoom in on a specific spot, you see Daisy just hanging out in the distance. That's nice, right? And it's not just there, you can actually find Daisy all over the place. Like this rabbit really gets around. At number 9 is the lava Easter egg. Some of the most memorable Easter eggs in Doom 2016 was this, where if you fell into lava, you'd get a special death animation where the Doomslayer sinks into the lava and gives a thumbs up just like Arnold at the end of Terminator 2. You might not think it'll show up in this game because unlike Doom 2016, you don't die instantly when you fall into lava. It's a little more like the classic games where you just take continuous damage, plus you'll probably have a few extra lives lying around at that point, so even if you do die in the lava, you'll just kind of use up your life instead of dying. However, if you're willing to burn through all your extra lives, if you stand in some lava long enough, it will eventually kill you for real, but it looks like it's just a standard death animation at first. But wait a second, and you'll see it, the Doomslayer giving the thumbs up just before the animation ends. You probably will actually have to go out of your way to see it, but it's hilarious that they put the T2 reference back in there when they really didn't have to. At number 8 is the Doom Guy's bookshelf. Now, there's tons of Easter eggs in the Doomslayer's man cave. Stuff like the file names on his computer or the magazine covers on his desk. There's the Soul Cube from Doom 3. But probably the funniest references can be seen on the bookshelf. On top of the bookshelf, you'll see Commander Keen's gun and helmet, a reference to one of id Software's first games. The top shelf is just full of literary references and puns like 50 Shades of Slay, the Kako and the Rye, Green Eggs and Pentagram, and the Great Gutsby. But the real good stuff is one shelf lower, the one with the Doom Guy toy on it. This one's purely video game references, and there's some pretty amazing ones, like the Vault Dweller Survival Guide, obviously from Fallout, To Pray or Not to Pray, maybe a little Prey 2 teaser, fingers crossed, The Strog, a trans-dimensional field utility, Quake 2 and Beyond, of course, Mesa Science Monthly, a Half-Life reference. Then we start getting into more obscure stuff like this, UNATCO Training Manual, Bomb Defusal, which works double as a reference to Deus Ex's UNATCO and the famous Look Out JC a Bomb meme. The Von Braun Onboard AI System Technical Manual. The Von Braun is the ship you're on in System Shock 2. The AI stuff clearly a reference to Shodan. Here's a good one, Why I'm So Great by Dork Norcom. Obviously a shot across the bow at Duke Nukem Forever. Why I'm So Great is his autobiography from that game. The best of them all, however, is this, My Buddy Superfly by Hiro Miyamoto. If you don't immediately recall in horror from reading that, then John Romero never made you his bitch in the infamously crappy Dakatana, a game where you'd hear the line, I can't leave without my buddy Superfly, whenever you tried to finish the stage without dragging along your useless AI escort. And of course, it all ties back to Doom. John Romero is pretty much the main guy behind Doom, along with John Carmack. Seeing a Dakatana reference in 2020 is surprising though, but beyond that, the shelf is literally just full of references to other games. I didn't even mention all of them because this point's already over 2 minutes. Rest assured they are all enjoyable though. At number 7 is Doom Guy's old PC, You probably noticed this on old 90s computer at the desk in Doomguy's room. You interact with it, it'll show you 2 question mark boxes, both of which you can click on. One says it's installing Doom, while the other requires a password. What could these things possibly be? Well, the first one is exactly what it says it is. You have to wait for it to install, which unsurprisingly takes the entire game to do, meaning when you beat the main campaign, you can play the original Doom entirely in Doom Eternal, which is very cool. But the second box requires a password. It's 12 characters, so yeah, Hurt Me Plenty doesn't work, so what does? There's actually a clue in the same room as the computer. There's just so much stuff in that room, it's hard to discern. There's one book on the bookshelf, though, I didn't mention. Retconned, The Life and Times of Flynn Taggart. Who the hell is Flynn Taggart, you ask? Well, he is the protagonist of the 4-part Doom novel series, which was completely insane and totally broke from the plot of Doom after the first book. Mormonism plays a huge part in the story for whatever reason, and all the demons are actually aliens from the planet Fredworld. Yes, I'm being serious. That is real from those books. Look it up. That shit is wild. Flynn Taggart, however, that's 12 characters, and yep, it works. It gets you Doom 2, the entire game. It's cool because it's a reference to a bizarre and terrible book series, as well as a game you can currently buy on most platforms. At number 6 is the Unmaykr. In the Fortress of Doom, you can find this phenomenal gun locked behind 6 Empyrean key locks. It's called the Unmaykr, and that sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Yes, it's the same gun they added in Doom 64. Like, they didn't call it the Unmaykr in that, but that's what it's officially known as now, and it was actually a gun they were planning to add back in the original Doom, but ended up scrapping it. The basic idea was used for the Soul Cube in Doom 3, and of course the Doom 64 developers at Midway decided to make use of the concept. In Doom 64, you get the gun no matter what. It's actually fairly weak at first. There's 3 secret demon keys in the game, and each one you get makes the gun more powerful. If you have all 3, it's actually better than the BFG. In Doom Eternal, pretty much works the same way it did in Doom 64. You don't need demon keys to power it though. It still, however, uses energy cells and is a hit scan weapon. Doom 64 seems to get a lot of love from Doom Eternal, and for good reason. It was a great game. That's even better now with Night Dive's re-release. At number 5 is cheat codes. There are cheat codes in the game, but they're not necessarily Easter eggs on their own. It's specifically the IDDQD and IDKFA cheats that are Easter eggs, being references to the God mode and degreeless cheat and the full weapons, armor, and keys cheat respectively from the original Doom games. If you're wondering what that actually means, ID is obviously id Software, and DQD is apparently from an informal fraternity Dave Taylor, one of Doom's programmers, was a member of. DQD stands for Delta Q Delta, with the Q being the grade members should strive to receive in their classes. Yeah, whatever. For IDKFA, the KFA stands for keys and full ammo, which is a little more straightforward and a lot less weird. Other than maybe the Konami code, these are probably the most recognizable codes in gaming history, so it's nice to see them here. At number 4, secret classic Doom textures. This is kind of weird and pointless, but in Doom 2016 you could find secret levers that revealed sections of classic Doom levels. That is not in Doom Eternal, but some of those classic textures do remain. Hidden around various levels, you'll find them, usually in some obscure or hard to reach spot, textures and little references to the original Doom games. Sometimes there's an old sprite, sometimes it's just old textures, but they're around, they're weird, and they're pretty much completely pointless outside of being something that's vaguely amusing to find. At number 3, classic enemy designs. In fact, just classic everything designs. In general, the enemies in this game look a lot closer to their original counterparts than in Doom 2016. Outside of the return of classic enemies like Pain Elementals, Anachrotrons, and Arc Vials, even enemies that had already appeared in Doom 2016 have changed to look a lot more like their old sprites. It's not just enemies either, though. A lot of the pickups look very much like Doom sprites. Like, look at the shotgun shells, for instance. The health packs, the potions, they're right out of the original Doom. And forgive me for being a little bit of a Doom nerd here, but that's very cool. Showing my age here. For the enemies, probably the most noticeably similar enemies are the zombie soldiers, who now look basically very similar to their Doom sprites. Like, they've even got the green hair. Another awesome addition is the remodeled Cyber Demon, which was redesigned completely in both Doom 3 and in 2016, and in Eternal, the Cyber Demon is back to its classic look. In fact, it's actually impressive how accurately they captured the design of the sprite to make as a 3D model. It really just goes to show you how much these developers love the original games and aren't afraid to make things a little bit goofier to replicate that tone. At number 2, the Dopefish lives! Yes, Dopefish is back, originally an enemy from Commander Keen, one of id's earlier games before they made Doom. It's a stupid-looking fish that's appeared in numerous id Software games, along with many other retro and retro-inspired FPS games. Why is it so ubiquitous, you might ask? I don't really have a good answer for you. It's one of those recurring Easter eggs that just doesn't go away. People like making the Dopefish. You'll find him in level 3, he's a fish hanging from a fishing rod. It's obviously the most detailed, highest definition version of the Dopefish to appear in gaming so far, and it's honestly pretty grotesque looking actually. I actually did go into this game hoping they'd put Dopefish somewhere, and the developers really exceeded my expectations. Not that it was really a necessity for the game to be good, but if you want to know more about Dopefish and the many appearances that he's had in gaming, check out dopefish.com, which for whatever reason is still around, kind of a blast from the past. And if you've ever spent time on the early days of the internet, it is a big nostalgia trip. And finally, number 1, the final boss, sort of, I guess. This is the only Easter egg I would describe as a spoiler, so let me just throw a warning out there if you don't want to get spoiled on what's one of the last bosses. This is the point in the video to stop. It's alright, we've already got 9 minutes of your time. Like, share, subscribe, enable all notifications. See you later. Now that all the virgin spoiler haters are gone and the Chad spoiler tolerators are all that's left, the icon of sin is in this game. Originally known as the final boss of Doom 2 until John Romero himself clarified that it was called the Icon of Sin. In Doom 2, it was kind of an underwhelming battle. Really, it's just a texture on a wall that spawns enemies. To kill it, you had to shoot a rocket into its brain, which was actually John Romero's head on a stick, and it's what you had to actually kill to win the fight. It's bizarre, honestly, but when you start the mission, you hear some garbled demon talk. It's actually John Romero, his voice heavily distorted and playing backwards, saying,
"To win the game, you must kill me, John Romero."
Ever since that, in Doom 2, people have been left wondering what a real fight against the Icon of Sin would look like, and in Doom Eternal, we finally get to see it. In short, it is awesome. I don't know if John Romero's head is somewhere in this thing, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was. And just before we wrap up, got a nice little bonus, a little Easter egg. Happy Birthday is back. Yep, you can find this balloon in a destroyed pipe in the Super Gore Nest level. You can find a similar balloon hidden back in Doom 2016, and they brought it back here because why not? That's officially all for today. I have no more Easter eggs for you. These were pretty fun though, don't you think? Leave us a comment, let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe and don't forget to enable all notifications. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.